Hello there, and welcome back to another Basics of Music Theory lesson. Today we're going to go over accidentals. Now, before this, most of our musical examples have been the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now, these correspond to the white notes on a piano, but if you've ever seen a piano, and I'm assuming you have, you also know that there are black notes. So, how do you know when to play those? Well, the answer is, if you haven't guessed, accidentals, which are all of these symbols that we're seeing before the notes. Now, for starters, we're gonna talk about the one that tells you don't play a half step up or a half step down, and that's this natural, which is, you draw a line coming down, you make a square around it, and then a line kind of going in the opposite direction on the other side, and that's how you make a natural. And naturals are generally assumed in whatever you're playing. If you don't see any accidentals, you're kind of assuming that you're going to be playing a natural note. But the useful thing about it is that when you've had, say, and we can see this later on, this B flat, later on when I want this to be B natural, I write that in and okay, this is a natural note now, it's no longer a flat. So that's a natural. It's very useful and so common that it's assumed. Next, we have the sharp, which is like a little pound sign or a hashtag for you people who twit. It's what tells you to go a half step up. So if I'm playing an A here and I have an A sharp, that means it's going to be a half step higher. If you need to kind of to know what a half step is, think of that interval at the beginning of the Jaws music, that did. That's a half step, and that one's actually going a half step up. Did. Now, what if instead, though, you want to go a half step down? Well, then you have this thing that looks like a B, and it's called a flat, and it tells you go a half step down. So, if we wanted to write the beginning to the Jaws theme with only flats and only the note A, we could write A flat followed by A, and you would know it. A flat, A natural, okay. Now there's another symbol for going a whole step up, which would take you back to a white note if we're using our example here of the note A, which is the double sharp, which is just a little X. And sometimes it's stylized so that there's a little bit of a curve to the X, but it's really just important that you have that cross there. And so, like I said, that'll tell you to go up a whole step. If you need an example of a whole step, think of, you've probably, when you were younger and in school, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's do to re. That's a whole step. Now, if you want to go a whole step down, you have just two flats, and that's a double flat. It's another one of those really difficult naming conventions, but I'm sure you'll get it eventually. Now, what you may have realized is that since we have ways to go both half step up, half step down, a whole step up, a whole step down, that means we have some notes where you might see an A sharp or you could see a B flat, and then it becomes a question of, well, isn't that the same thing? And the answer is yes. If you see an A sharp, that's the same thing as a B flat. If you see an A flat, that's the same thing as a G sharp. And going along with that, a double sharp is just a B natural, and a double flat is just a G. Now, there's reasons why you might want to use a double sharp or a double flat, or why you would want to use a flat instead of a sharp to say what kind of note it is. And we're going to get into that when we talk more about key signatures. But for now, just know that there are these notes that are the same, and that they're called enharmonic notes. And yeah, that's pretty much everything there is to knowing about accidentals. Anyway, I hope this was useful to you, and hope that you come back to the channel soon. Alright, have a great day.